Imagine a world where the Islamic Caliphate never fractured. Instead of splintering into competing empires and nation-states, it remained a cohesive, powerful entity that united the Muslim world under one banner. What would this alternate reality look like? How would it change the social, political, technological, and economic landscape of the world? In this episode of Go Hard History, we'll explore what the world might look like if the Caliphate was still united. In this alternate timeline, a united caliphate would likely have fostered a more cohesive and collective Muslim identity across regions spanning from North Africa to Southeast Asia. The caliphate's commitment to religious pluralism, especially under its early rule, could have extended into the modern era. Christians, Jews, and other religious groups would live under the protection of the state, with systems in place to ensure mutual respect. Instead of the fragmented religious tensions we see today, the Middle East and much of the Muslim world might have developed into a more stable and harmonious society. Gender dynamics might also look different. Early Islamic societies, especially during the Abbasid period, made great strides in education and science, where women had more access to education and could even hold positions of influence. In this world, the push for women's rights in the Muslim world might have come from within the caliphate, rather than being perceived as an external Western force. This could have led to a faster and smoother integration of women into public life, particularly in education, politics, and the workforce. Historically, the Islamic world was at the forefront of technological and scientific advancements. A unified caliphate might have been able to maintain this intellectual dominance. With centers of learning like Baghdad, Cordoba, and Cairo still thriving, we could have seen a continuous golden age of Islamic science and technology. Without the fragmentation and conflicts that plagued the Muslim world after the caliphate's decline, advancements in mathematics, medicine, and astronomy could have progressed much faster. Innovations in architecture, irrigation, and engineering might have led to a more sustainable urbanization in the Middle East and North Africa. The caliphate could have been a pioneer in green technologies or renewable energy, especially considering its strategic control over vast desert regions where solar power could thrive. The development of gunpowder weapons in the Muslim world might have been more significant, allowing the caliphate to maintain a stronger military edge, especially in conflicts with neighboring empires. Additionally, technological developments in navigation could have made the caliphate a leader in global maritime trade. Economically, a united caliphate would have immense influence. With its strategic control over trade routes between Europe, Asia, and Africa, the caliphate could have continued its dominance over the Silk Road. This would place the caliphate as a major hub of global trade where goods, ideas, and culture flow freely. Cities like Baghdad, Cairo, and Istanbul might rival New York, London, and Tokyo as global financial centers. Oil, discovered throughout the Middle East in the 20th century, would have been a game-changer. With the united caliphate controlling vast oil reserves, they would dominate the global energy market. Instead of OPEC as we know it today, the caliphate might act as the sole supplier of oil to much of the world, giving them extraordinary geopolitical leverage. In this reality, the Western financial system might not hold as much power. The caliphate's own currency could rival the US dollar as a global reserve currency, and the economic weight of the Muslim world could be a counterbalance to Western capitalism. Politically, a united caliphate would have profound implications for global power dynamics. The Islamic world's unity would present a challenge to Western colonialism and imperialism. European empires like the British and French may have struggled to establish colonial control over territories in the Middle East, North Africa, and South Asia. The Ottoman Empire's decline, which led to the partition of the Middle East, might have been avoided altogether. Without European interference, there might be no arbitrary borders drawn across the region, borders that have been the cause of many conflicts. The stability of a united caliphate might have prevented the rise of nationalist movements and wars in the Middle East, from the Arab-Israeli conflict to the Gulf Wars. The Sykes-Picot Agreement would never have existed, meaning the modern modern Middle East could be a more unified and stable region. Additionally, with the Caliphate as a global superpower, the Cold War might have had an entirely different character. Instead of a bipolar world dominated by the US and the Soviet Union, the Caliphate could have been a third major power. Its influence would shape alliances across Asia, Africa, and even parts of Europe, leading to a more multipolar world order. The ripple effects of a united caliphate would reach every corner of the globe. Events like World War I and World War II could have had different outcomes, or perhaps not happened at all. With the caliphate maintaining control over key territories, the Ottoman Empire's collapse wouldn't have triggered a domino effect of European territorial grabs and nationalist uprisings. The fight for independence in countries like India might have looked very different. As the Caliphate's influence extended into the subcontinent, there might have been no British Raj, and instead of Gandhi, figures of resistance might have been working within a broader Islamic framework. Without the collapse of the Ottoman Empire after World War I, the modern Zionist movement and the creation of Israel might have played out differently, possibly preventing decades of conflict in the region. The global war on terror, which was fueled by the vacuum left after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, might never have existed. Ultimately, the survival of a united caliphate would have reshaped the course of human history. Socially, technologically, economically, and politically, the world would be a very different place, perhaps more stable, perhaps more advanced. It's fascinating to imagine how different things could be if one of the greatest empires in history had not fallen. If you enjoyed this alternate history exploration, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more thought-provoking journeys into the past that could have been.